Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and here we are on a beautiful April Sunday afternoon. Jerry and I have had quite a productive day already. We've already filmed the garden tour up at Mimi's garden, and now we're just going to be outside, just kind of what I say is piddling. That's my term my mom and I use when we're just outside in the garden doing a little of this and a little of that. So that's just kind of what we do on a Sunday afternoon, because this is our one day off from the nursery, and so we get some projects done here around the house. So this is just going to be a really kind of an informal video, kind of an afternoon in the day of the life of type of situation. So I'm going to be working on this bed behind me because whoo-wee, it is a hot mess. I really wanted to be planting my annuals in the boxes at the deck and then the urns on the two columns of the seating wall. But later on this week, the weather is calling for lows of like 38. I'm not going to take a chance that it may dip down even further, so I am going to wait at least another week before I plant those annuals, because the last thing I want to do is plant the annuals and then we get a frost freeze and I lose some of them, because some of those plants I will not be able to replace. So I will still get my gardening fix and get my hands dirty and in the dirt and be productive by working on this space behind me. Now, you can see that this is the bed that is underneath the red bud forest pansy, and it's right here beside the new patio. This whole bed will be extended out to the walkway. So behind me, we had, my mama had started kind of help pulling some plants out at the end of the fall last year because we knew we were going to rework this bed. Of course, the weeds have taken over. They're growing quite well in here. I do need to move some hostas because there is a summon substance and then there is a big daddy back there growing right beside of the big weed. So those are going to come out and be moved in the bed. I've got some Florida Sunshines that I'm going to plant in there. The Florida Sunshines are, of course, are that great evergreen, nice yellow, lime green, evergreen, shade-loving shrub. So they will go in the back to give me some height, some color, help hide some of those utility boxes that we have there. I've just got some great garden maintenance that I need to do. So it's really just going to be, you know, kind of where does the day take us? I will tell you this, because I am working here, Jerry just ran to the greenhouses to check on, make sure all the plants had lots of water, and then he is working at the patio, filling in, cutting pieces against the seating wall, kind of those hard to cut pieces for the patio. So we do not have a cameraman per se today, so all the cameras are going to be set up and stationary. I will do my best to take you along so you can get kind of up close views on this. But just know that cameras are set up in different areas and we'll do our best to give you all of the shots. And of course, I will kind of come and talk to you about what I am doing. So right now, what I've done is I am gathering all of my tools, because the first things first, we need to get the big weeds out, and I need to move those two hostas so I can plant the shrubs. So here we go. I tell you what, not only in spring do the trees pop out and the azaleas and the tulips and all the pretty things, but so do the weeds. Oh my word, y'all. They're everywhere. But hey, gives us something to do in the garden, right? So my first order of business is to really get the weeds out of here, so that way I can really kind of see where I'm going to put and move other plants and so forth and so on. A clean slate just makes such a difference in a flower bed. This area is not on irrigation, so it can tend to dry out, especially as the tree gets larger. So I've got my clippers with my autumn ferns here. I'm going to turn around and I'm just going to clip out all of last year's new growth, the old foliage, because this is all of the new foliage. This is called Brilliance. This is the Brilliance autumn fern. because it has brilliant new foliage on it that we want to see and appreciate. So you take the old stuff off, let the new stuff come in. And autumn ferns are great because they are a semi-evergreen, so even in the winter, they don't completely die back, say like a Japanese painted fern or lady ferns do. These will stay around for the winter. So you just kind of have to go in here and figure out who's new and who's old, and then just clip out the old so that the new can be. All right, so I got the autumn ferns cleaned up. We have some Japanese anemones growing in here, and they're a great perennial that will naturalize and does beautiful fall flowers on it. They send these great little stalks with these pink flowers on them. But you've got to be careful because they can be kind of invasive, and they're starting to get too close into my autumn ferns, so I'm going to have to thin some of those out. So we'll just see how it goes. I'm just going to kind of go through and just do my thing, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. When you're digging up your perennials, you want to try to get as much of a root ball as you possibly can. So of course I try to start out as far away as I can. This would be a great time if you wanted to divide your hosta. This is the perfect time to do it. I am not going to divide this hosta. I want it to stay nice and big. It is Big Daddy after all, so I want it to be a nice big hosta. I personally like to divide my hostas though in the fall, because that way it won't matter if I am messing up the foliage of the hosta. Right now, if I were to actually split it, I would damage a lot of the foliage, and the foliage is not really going to have time. It won't really recover really well throughout the rest of the season, and I want it to be pretty. So I'm not going to divide it. We're just going to move it. There we go. Let's see. Yep. So she came up in one nice good clump. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put her yet, or him yet rather. So I'll just move him right there. I am going to go ahead and take out these Japanese anemone because I don't want them coming this way. I'm going to plant Florida Sunshines right there. So those guys are they're out of here. Okay. Now I know that some of you may be saying to yourselves, I cannot believe she's tossing those perennials. You know, she should be potting those up and giving them away to somebody. Yes, that is true. That could happen. But when you have a perennial, if any of you have gardened for very long, and you know that when you get a perennial and it spreads and spreads and spreads, at some point you're like, you know what, you're just done, you're out of here. I still have got plenty more of those Japanese anemones that if I want to divide and give to a friend or somebody, I've got plenty. These things produce rapidly, and so sometimes you just have to make sacrifices in the garden, and today is one of those days for these Japanese anemone. This is going to be a perfect place for me to put one of those Florida sunshines. So I am going to move this hosta. This is a Sum and Substance hosta. It gets a little bit more sun because your light colored hostas can handle more sun. Light limey hostas, more sun. Darker hostas need to be more shade. So this guy I can move up somewhere else. Now this really is a good time to divide this one because you can see that it's not as open as Big Daddy was, and it naturally has areas that can be divided into natural clumps of the hostas. So I think I'm going to try to do that without damaging it too much, because I can spread those around back here in the back, and it should be absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to try to dig up and divide this. I will show you exactly how I do that. Okay, so you can see I have this Sum and Substance, and there's a natural division here and really here. Like you could get a couple of hostas out of here. So first what we want to do is work our way around the plant. And these are very large hostas. Sum and Substance is some of the biggest. And I've got roots in here from the tree. I've got some rocks. I've got all sorts of things in here. So I'm just going to have to, like that would be a rock. I just have to work it from all angles to get in there. So basically we're going to loosen up from the bottom, work our way around. This is where we kind of lift up this leaf. I don't want to, I'm trying not to damage it. We'll see. All right, you see how it's kind of lifting up now? Whoop, excuse. Oh man. Come on, fern. About took out the fern. Oh well, there's a worm in there. He wasn't happy that I was digging in his territory. All right, so you can hear the roots popping up. Just gonna keep on working. All right, we're almost there. So when you hear those roots popping, I don't know if that's a hosta root or a tree root. Could be a little bit of both. All right, so it's up. I'm just going to knock that off. Now, right about here is where I can naturally divide it. So I'm going to stick my shovel, the pointy end right there. Basically, you're just going to cut. There we go. Slice it right here. Okay, there we go. And there we have a great way how to divide hostas. So we've got one clump. We're going to see if we can do another one right in here. So I'm going to start on the edge this time. Here we go. I feel a root still. There we go. All right, I think we got it. Let's see. We do. Ta-da! Now, if I feel like this leaf is going to be damaged, I can just go ahead and cut it off. So, you know, dividing your hostas now in the spring, you may have some funky shaped leaves going through the season. It's all right. It's a hosta. You know, you're not going to kill it by damaging a leaf. It's all right. So now I have got 3 nice sized clumps of my Summon Substance that I can use throughout this bed. So I'll have to decide exactly where I want to put them. Oh. All right. We're gonna see if I can show you this up close. So just give me a moment, please. Let me see if I can do this, because he's covered. Here we go. All right. I'm hoping that the camera is zooming in. Again, I don't have a camera person with me, so I really hope that you can see that slug. Slugs are like #1 enemy for a hosta, because they will come in and they will chew their leaves. This is how you get holy hostas, because these little slugs and snails come along and chew on them. Look, he says, here's my up close. I'm ready. So the difference between a slug and a snail is just simply a snail has a shell. This is a slug. This is a great time to be preventative and get rid of them. So you know what, fella? He just got squished on the rocks. So that tells me that I am correct in going ahead and making sure that I am treating my hostas and my shade gardens to be preventative, so that those little slugs don't come and chew on them. Because there's already a hole on this one. Let's see, there's a root. Gotta figure out who that root belongs to. If he's a tree root, I think he's actually a tree root. That's not a hosta root. Either way, here we go. Cut. All right, so what I'm gonna do is move these 3 guys out of the way and then get ready to plant and place my Florida Sunshines. Okay. All right, so I got my Biotone, my Land and Sea. And I'm kind of wondering, let's see. We're gonna put one. We've got this guy right here. I think we're gonna go ahead and put him right here. Somebody sure is being noisy around here. All right, so just take that compost and just sprinkle it out, work it into the top layer of the soil all the way around, because not only will it amend this shrub than any other shrub or perennial in this area. So we're just gonna work it in, and there we go. Now I think Jerry had talked about in this area, because it tends to be closer to the camera, it tends to be a little high and a little hump, and because we're going to extend this bed out, we might take some of that and kind of taper it down. So I'm not going to plant too terribly close to where the camera is, too much on the other side of that land and sea, but I do believe I want to go ahead and take, I'll have to stand back and look at it, but I'm thinking I want to put one of those summon substances back here, or you know what, I may do Big Daddy, because Big Daddy sure would be pretty. It's blue-green foliage up against this Florida sunshine, whereas Summon Substance is more similar to this color. I have to think about it. All right, let's see. You know I'm such a visual person. So if we put a Big Daddy here, which will get a little bit of morning sun from there, as opposed to some more afternoon sun right here, we put another Florida sunshine basically right there. Have to get rid of some more of those what are those things called? Japanese anemones. So there's going to be some repetitive themes and lines in this bed, but then there's also going to be just that great glorious woodland nature, throw it in there kind of thing. All right, I think I am going to put Big Daddy. Where's my shovel? There's my shovel. All right. So, all right, Big Daddy. That's just fun to say. Big Daddy. Ooh, that was a rock. Word. Let's see. Uh-oh. Oh, that's a root. Woo. Oh, it scared me there for a minute. Jackson, I thought we had hit a line. We didn't. It's just a root. Well, I thought maybe you could help me put the arch together. Okay. Yeah, I'm not ready to do it yet. We'll do it in a little bit. Okay. Is that your wood?
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to say, by this afternoon it needs to be gone. All right. I think we got a good enough hole here. I know, pollen's everywhere. Well, little dust collects into big pieces. Oh, roots. Okay. Yeah, but it's not that deep. All right. Got the hole for Big Daddy. Going with some biotone. See, here we got some of that anemone growing in the roots of the hosta, which is what we don't want. Okay, she's in there. I keep saying she, it's he. I mean, it is called Big Daddy. Get it together, woman. Put my tag back in there. My mama has all of her cute little copper tags. I just stick the plant tag back in there. So now I'm going to have to clear out an area for the other Florida Sunshine. And keep in mind that these Florida Sunshines can get in that 5 to 6 foot range. So right now they look too short behind the autumn ferns, but I'm 5 foot. So imagine that they get nice and tall and they'll fill in this area. I don't mind that this is a window to our garage. Doesn't bother me if it comes up and kind of blocks part of it. That's no big deal. Here, I do want it to grow up and cover this. I'll pull it away some, but there's a whole bunch of Japanese anemones here that I need to get out. So I will work on that. That is the anemone that I am pulling up. Lucky Charm. Let's see. It is a beautiful flower. Zones 5 to 8. Gets 3 feet tall. That's with the bloom. Late summer to autumn. Let's see. Care. Grows in fertile, humus-rich soil. Yep. All right. So I'll replant this. I'm just making a hole for my Florida Sunshine, but we'll hold on to that because I could not remember what the name was. So now we go. It's the benefit of burying your tags. I think we've got a good enough hole right here. And I may regret the day that I ever planted these anemones in here. And I'm not really sure if I should take them all out or if it's okay if they can grow nicely with the Florida Sunshines. But I'm just gonna clear out because theoretically it would be beautiful if they were a nice kind of an underplanting to the Florida Sunshines. I just don't know if they'll overtake it and smother it. So, as I say, don't know until you try, so we'll find out. But I will take out any of them that are obviously right there in the hole. And then, you know you're a mama when you find Legos in your flower beds. Right, honey? He says, yes, sure. He has no clue what I just said. He's in the zone. time to think. Time to clear out. Okay guys, so just in all full disclosure, it is Sunday afternoon. My creative brain is honestly exhausted, and so I don't know, I'm not thinking clearly on the design of how I want to continue with this bed. So I'm gonna do a completely mindless activity, weeding. There's plenty of weeds in here, so I'm gonna take a break of trying to design and plant the bed, and I'm just gonna clean it up. So maybe when I'm clean, the bed is clean, and have a clean slate, then I can have more of a refreshed idea of what I wanna do. So just because you start a project doesn't mean you have to go from start to completion all in one swoop. Just take your time, pace yourself. If your brain's not working correctly, just take a break and come back to it. It's okay. So that's what I'm gonna do, is get this weeds out. There we go. All right, well, I think I have figured out where I'm gonna put these 3 new summon substance. Then we're gonna get them in the ground. Oi. Here we go. Here's to not hit any tree roots. We're getting there. It's nice just to be out in the garden and not having to answer questions and help do this, help do that. Gardening is therapy for all of us, and it's just nice to be able to get back in the garden, even though the camera's rolling. You can tell I've not been very chatty today. It's just nice just to get your hands in the dirt and create something and accomplish something and get something cleaned up and make the space a little prettier than when you found it. That's the fun. tree root. Well, that's a tree root now, isn't it? Yes, it is. That's a humdinger. Let's see if we can go right above it. Yes, we can. And that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna work around the root. Great afternoon getting all sorts of chores done in this flower bed. By no means is this bed done. This will be a work in progress really until we get the walkway in, and even then it is still a work in progress. But you can see I've got the vast majority of the weeds are out. I've got 2 of the Florida Sunshines planted. I am going to add some more in that to go down a little bit further. I just hadn't quite figured out exactly where. Got those summon substances that we divided. Those are planted. I will put kind of in the center of those, but forward, my Let's Dance Blue Jangles hydrangea. I didn't plant that today simply because this bed will have to be messed with once we extend it, and soil will be added. And where I want to put that hydrangea is going to be kind of in the way for that. So I'm just going to leave it in its pot for right now. And then I went ahead and put land and sea around all of those perennials. That is just a great way to feed those plants and to amend your soil in a great, just easy way. And the plants just respond super, super well to them. Remember, I showed you that slug, not a snail. So I am going to go ahead before the night is done, and I am going to treat it with Bonide's slug and snail bait. This is an organic solution that works really well. It's just pellets, and you just shake it onto the surface of the bed. The best time to do it is at night because that's when the snails and the slugs come out and eat. But basically they eat this and then their intestines erupt and they die. Lovely. But it is an organic solution. It's safe to use in your vegetable gardens, around pets, fruit trees, all of those kinds of things. So it's just really simple. I'll just show you real quick. You open it up and then you just kind of shake it around the plants. So that way, if they come out tonight, they will have a lovely feast of this bait and not my hostas. Now, Jerry was working in the patio. We didn't really talk to him a lot today. So let's go over there and see what he got. Oh, I forgot. He just showed me because he actually is working the camera. Jackson and I did, if you saw, we got the arch put together that the pathway will go through, that the climbing roses will trellis on, will climb on. So this is an approximate area. It's not the final place. We just put it here, but this is a nice arch from Kinsman Company. So it was really pretty simple to put together. And then we'll have a rose on each side that will climb up and go over. I did do the David Austin, the Generous Gardener rose, climbing rose. So that's what we will do once all that pathway and everything gets done. So now let's go check on Jerry at the patio. So Jerry made some really great progress back here on the patio. If you can see from column to column, the pavers are completely laid down. He got all of those cuts made. It is a nice solid floor now. It looks fantastic. We are making progress. Praise the Lord. So he had quite a few little interesting cuts that he had to make around the columns because it wasn't just a flat cut. It was all sorts of angles and nooks and crannies and all sorts of good things. But he did it and it looks fantastic and it's done. We're one step closer, and then so now really as far as the pavers go, we just have to go over a little bit further down to where that second set of steps is going to be leading down to the yard. But we are getting so close, little bit by little bit. Even if it's only on a Sunday afternoon that we have to work on it, we will certainly keep plugging away and getting this project done. Still lots more to come, but it has been a great Sunday afternoon. We are tired. I have supper has been cooking in the oven all afternoon, so the house smells amazing, so I don't have to worry about cooking supper now because it's already done. So we're going to go in and have a nice evening, but I hope you have enjoyed just kind of seeing a little bit of a behind the scenes what we're doing on a Sunday afternoon here at the house. Got a couple of projects done, and as always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends. Do your thumbs up.